Hello, welcome my to channel Reading Book. Let's go. When book 1984 book to continue when they met in the church door, the gap in their frequently conversation were full of. It was a blazing afternoon there in the little square. Chamber about the bell was hot and stinging and smelled overpowering of pigeon dung. They sat talking for hours on the dusty toilet, fell on or other of them getting up from time to time to cast a glance through the outlet and make sure that no one was coming. Julia was 26 years old. She lived in the hostel with 30 other girls and the second of women who I had woman, she said parlantly, and she worked as he had guessed on the novel writing machine in the fiction department. She enjoyed her work, which consists chiefly in drawing and servicing a powerful but taky electric motor. She was not clever but was fond of using her hand and felt at home with machinery. She could contribute to the whole process of composing a novel from the general directive issue by a plan committee down to the final touching up by the revised squad. But she was not interested in the finished product. She didn't much care for reading. She said books were just a community that had to be produced like jam or but less. She had no memories of anything before the early 60s, and the only person she had ever known who talked frequently of the day before the revolution was a grandfather who had disappeared when she was 8. At school, she had been captain of the hockey team and had owned the gymnastics trophy 2 years round. She had been a traveler in the cities and the branch secretary in the youth Lego before joining the junior anti-sect Lego. She had always grown an excellent character. She had even an findable mark of good reputation, been picked out to work in Peronos, the subsection of the fiction department which tried cheap pornography for distribution among the parole. It was nicknamed "My House" by the people who worked in it. She remarked that she had remained for helping to produce booklets in South Packages in Spanking Street or unknown in the grade school for 50 by Portland youths who were on the impression that they were buying sometime illegal. What are these boys like? Said Winston curiously. Oh, ghastly rubbish. They are boring really. They only have 6 below that their swam that round a bit. Of course, I was only on the kaleidoscopes. I was never in the revised quite. I'm not literary, not even enough for that. He learned with astonishment that all the workers in Pornos, except the head of the department, were grilled. The truth was that man, whose 6 extents were less controversial than those of the woman, were in the great danger of being corrupted by a 50-day handle. They didn't even like having married women there. She added Greer was supposed to be supposed who isn't anyway. She had had her first love affair when she was extant with a party member of 60 who later committed suicide to avoid arrest, and a good job too, said Julia. The they have had my name out of him when he confused science. Then there had been various other life as she saw It was quite simple. You want a good time. The man in the party wanted to stop you having it. You break the rule as best you could. She seemed to see it just and natural that they should want to rob you of your pleasure and that you should want to avoid being caught. She hated the party and said so in the crass word, but she made no general criticism of it except where it touched up her own life. He had no interest in party doctrine. He noticed that she never used a newspaper word except the one that had passed into everyday use. She had never heard of the brotherhood and refused to believe in except any kind of recognizable the guy in the party, which was bound to be a follower, strike her as stupid. The clever thing was to break the rule and stay alive all the same. He wondered vulgarly how many other like her there might be in a younger generation people who had grown up in the world of the revolution, knowing nothing else except in the party as something alterable like the sky, not rebelling against a story but simply inventing it as a rabbit dogged a dog. They did not discuss the possibility of getting married. It was too remote to be worth thinking about. No imaginable community would ever sanction such a marriage, even if Catherine, Wisdom's wife, could somehow have been got rid of. It was helpless even as a diatribe. What what was she like? Your wife, said Julia. She was doing now the newspeak word good thankful, meaning naturally orthodox, incapable of saying a bad thought. No, I didn't know the word, but I knew the kind of person right enough. He began telling her the story of his married life, but curiously enough, she appeared to know his essential part of the already. She described to him almost as though she had seen or felt it. This stuffing of Katrina body as soon as I touch her, the way in which she says seems to be pushing him from her with all her strength, even when her work collapsed tightly him. With Julia, he felt no actually talking about touching Katrina and any line accused to be a painful memory and become merely a distasteful aunt. I could have slowly if it hadn't been for one scene, he said. He told her about her French leather ceremony that Katrina had forced him to go through on the same night every week. She hated it, but nothing would make her stop doing it. She used to call it, but you all never guessed. Or duty to Paris, said Julia promptly. How did you know that? I've been at the school 236 on months of over 16 and it used a movement they drop into you for years. I dare say words in a lot of cases, but of course you can never tell people are such helicopters. She began to enlarge upon the subject with Julia. Everything came back to her own sexually as soon as this way touched up in any way. She was capable of great activity on life with she had grasped the inner meaning of the poor sexual pluralism. It was not merely that sex intense the great world of its own, which was outside the party control and which therefore had to be destroyed if possible. What was more important was the sexual perversion induced hysteria which was destroyed because it could be transformed into warfare and later worship. The way she put it was when you make love, you are using up energy, and afterward, you feel happy and don't give a damn for anything. They can bear you to feel like that they want to you be bursting with energy all the time. All this marching up and down and cheering and waving flag is simply six guns sour. If you are happy inside yourself, why should you get excited about Big Brother and 3 year plan, 2 minute hate, and all the rest of the bloody road? It was really true. He saw it was a dry intimate connection between caste and politically orthodoxy. That's enough for how cold a fear. That's enough. Tomorrow, goodbye.